Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's episode is all about recession-proof strategies businesses should do during a global crisis. So by the way, all my podcast episodes are available in audio format, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever platforms or app you use is also available in audio. And also I upload here on this YouTube channel. Couple of key takeaways on this episode is all about how to create win-win partnerships and approach in business, whether your industry is in tech, consulting, offline, whatever that is, how we can create that. And of course, the reason why I tell you recession-proof strategies is how do we create systems that works for our business so that we can make sure we can scale and grow and not just survive but thrive during the crisis. So please check this episode out. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know your feedbacks in the comment below. See you in the next one. Welcome back to the Drive to Succeed podcast. We have my good friend Simran Samtani on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
All right, so Simran, I think we had met once. It was on International Women Entrepreneurship Show, and
Yes,
you're the one sitting in front. I just remember it now.
yes,
And then
yes, that's right.
we got connected through LinkedIn. But the reason you're here today is to enlighten us a little bit about how can businesses save money. What are the principles that we needed to apply? Like you mentioned earlier before we start record. Profit first, build to sell. These are very interesting topics, especially relevant right now. But just to put a little bit of context, who is Simran Samtani?
Um, just a normal person like everybody. I'm an ex-banker. I am an MBA in marketing. I joined my husband in our business. We have a boutique accounting firm for 16 years. I've joined him in the last 2 years while I helped him co-found. So I used to be with Citibank before. And I'm not an accountant, and I pride myself being an entrepreneur, so I can speak in the language of fellow entrepreneurs without the jargon. So I conduct accounting for non-accounting courses, and I've realized that in my own journey, because I always, and we all have a money mindset. We come with a lot of money baggage with ourselves, and I've realized that I had a money ceiling. I never thought money was everything, but so I've started working on my money mindset. I've started working on a lot of stuff, and I realized that I'm not the only one in this journey. So it's my passion right now, and I've seen a lot of people struggle through cash flow, very very close family members. So it's my mission to give 10 times more value than we get, and share whatever I've learned and what others are learning, to build a movement where people choose fear of money, choose faith over the fear of money, and which leads to a lot of other stuff. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yes, interesting. I didn't know that the business was co-founded by your husband, and so this is like
Yes,
a husband and wife business.
yes,
Some
yes, it is.
associates along as well. So, all
Yes.
right, very good, very good. Just really curious about you. Always mention about a win-win approach in
Mhm,
business. Can you tell us more about
mhm.
it?
Yeah, because see, anything that you do, you can't win with someone else losing. So you need to give first before you receive. So the whole idea is to give first, give value, then there's a no-brainer. If you're only saying, what am I going to get in return for it, but you're not giving value, it's not going to be a long-term relationship. So, even if it's your clients, it's your friendships, it's your relationships, everything, there is a give and take. And you can only ask. So it's like a bank, right? You
Yeah,
deposit money. I'm a banker. So you deposit money, only then can you withdraw. There
exactly.
might be some overdraft facilities, but you can't overdraw to a certain extent. So you need to make sure that you're depositing. You're giving first before you're expecting anything to receive. And you may not receive from the same source. You may receive it from someone else, but you need to give first.
Understood. Yes, and so that is a win-win concept where everybody should win and think of a way where everybody comes out happy and fulfilled.
That's right. That's right. and
And
and win for you maybe a win, maybe different from a win from somebody else. So understanding what is it that their perception of a win is, and then working together in the journey, walking that path together to reach that goal.
Understood. And you mentioned about businesses before we hit record. Businesses should have a principle about profit first. I know some this concept, is widely known, but for some, although it is known, there's a difference between knowing and doing. So, can you
Yes,
give us a little
yes.
bit, insights about this? What are your tips? What are strategies as well for any business
Yeah.
owners out there who wanted to implement this stuff?
Yeah. So see, what happens is when everybody opens a business and you ask them, why have you opened a business? It's always about, I want money, and I want more money. And there are statistics that 82% of the businesses fail in their first 5 years.
Yes.
Knowing that 69% of them were profitable.
Mm.
Okay. So the reason they failed was for cash flow. So what happens is everybody does a sale, but it's the money is not collected. A whole lot of money is not collected. So a sale is not a sale till the money is collected. And having said that as well, what happens is in accountants, the formula is the general accounting principle would say that sales minus expense is equal to profit. So out of habit, a
Mhm.
lot of people would make their sale. So even if it's a first sale, what they would do is they'll make the sale. The money may come in. Once the money comes in, they go and reinvest it in their business. It's not that, the money is going somewhere else. It may be going somewhere else, but they reinvest. They reinvest in people. They reinvest in systems, everything. And whatever is left behind, if at all, is profit. Right. So the philosophy of profit first is pay yourself first. Okay. A whole lot of business owners also do not take salary for themselves. Right. So the thing is, if you're running this business, for your business to sustain itself, it needs to be profitable. For you to have your momentum, you start with that passion. For you to continue that, it needs to give you profit. So what is profit is basically you take the money.
Mhm.
So the formula sales minus expenses equal to profit. You
Mhm.
just shift it slightly. Nothing changes in the mathematical formula. You
Mhm.
call it sales minus profit is equal to expense. A
Mhm.
new business can start like this on day first. So I want 50% profit. Can I do it today? No. I want
No.
20% profit. Can I do it overnight? No. So start small. So can you start from today? Absolutely, you can start from today. So what do? You just take 1%. So if you're earning 10,000 as an invoice, is it difficult for you to put 100 dirhams aside? It's
Mm.
not. You will not miss it. So what you do is you keep your profit aside. Okay, so that's the philosophy of profit first.
Mhm.
And basically it's a habit. So don't start by saying I'll put 20% aside, because you'll not be able to sustain it. Keep doing with 1%, move it to 2%, move it to 5%, move it longer. There is a law called Parkinson's law. Okay,
Mhm.
so that law says we as human beings will consume 100% of what's given to us, right? So if you're given 10 days to do a project, when do we end up doing it? Ninth day. The same project, someone tells you do it in 2 days, you'll finish it in 2 days, right? If someone gives you 100,000 dirhams for a project, you'll use the whole 100,000, right? If someone says no, we don't have the budget, do it in 10,000, you'll find means to do it. And that is what we humans do. So one of the tips that is given in this book says that you put the profit in a separate bank account where you can't see it. Remove it. Okay, you will not
Mm.
miss it. You will not miss it at all, because these are small portions that are going away.
Yep.
With the remaining expense, then you will manage, we as human beings will manage, we'll think of smarter ways to do it. So for example, when someone has money in the account, they take decisions on bank balance accounting. You see the money in your account, you'll go and spend it. So even on a personal level, this is applicable on personal level as well. I go to the shop and I'll say I want the best TV. When I go for a TV, I just need basic stuff, right? The same benefits, the same features are available in another TV for less. I'm not comparing my benefits and the price. But when I
Yes.
don't have that in my budget, I will look at what gives me the maximum value. And we'll find alternative ways, we'll find smarter ways to achieve the same thing with less.
Understood. Yeah, and it just struck a chord with me when you mentioned about putting that money aside into a different bank. I think this also applied. I forgot the name of the book or the practice where it's like automatic millionaire, where Every time you
Ex-
had an income, there's a 10% or even 5% that you pull out immediately that you set up with the bank. And,
yes. Yes.
understood.
So a
And
new company can probably start with a higher percentage and they work towards it. But if you're existing, you can't change because it will. So you do it step by step. But yes, that makes total sense.
yes, and also this, I believe this principle also applies in a personal level,
Yes.
and also if I believe is that because normally my wife handles all the cash flow and all the savings and all that, but I believe this is also one of the reasons why even on individual levels, like people when they lost their job, they got laid off, or even their business went bust, they don't have any savings, just because they always prioritize their expense versus the profit coming in and then putting it on the side. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and also go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
No, so it also follows what our grandmothers used to follow called the envelope system. So you decide how much you need to spend for your home budget as well, what goes in entertainment, what percentage goes for food. So you already put it in an envelope and keep it aside. You don't spend, and that could be percentages, right? With the month you have more, you can put more. So it's actually taken the concept that was already existing with our grandparents and with the credit cards and everything coming into our life, we've tend to spend more than we earn. So
Yes,
it just puts back things into perspective where you're not spending more than what you're earning, and there's a method to it. So yeah,
understood. And I'm just really curious about one thing. Is this system applicable with startups, entrepreneurs as well? Like, let's say in the tech space. So, because obviously people, some venture capital money will come in. Obviously, the VC will tell like how many percent about how much is your salary. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
it is perfect for a startup because if you start correctly, you will not reach a stage where you are in debt. Okay, you will not use. So one of the ways this methodology is also being used, and there's a whole think to it about debt reduction. How you can use this philosophy even for reducing your debts if you're already in debt. But if a new startup starts, they can start on that philosophy at the right point. And you know what? It gives the venture capitalists, it gives the investors, it gives the angel investors the confidence that this is what it's doing, and this is connected to the revenues you're making. So if it's a company making 1 million dirham revenue, the percentages of profits are separate from a company making 50 million revenue. So the percentage of your expense is defined by the revenues of your firm. So you shift your profit percentages, your salaries shift as you move along. So if you're a solopreneur, 50% and you're a company below a million dirhams, 50% of your revenue should be your salary, because if you're not in the business is not there. This is not applicable to a business which has 100 and 200 people making 10 million, because it's the systems in place. So your philosophy and your formulas change there, and it gives the investors also confidence that this company is going in the right direction. It gives them metrics on which they can check on the progress of the firm as well.
Yes. Yeah, I really love when you say about that is that when you are not in business, I mean, when you don't pay yourself as a business owner, then, you go out in debt and then you're not really in business. I really love about that. But I'm just really curious about one thing, especially you as a husband and wife, partners in a business. Do you believe in work-life balance, and what are your process in terms of working, especially right now we're at home? Just really
Yeah.
curious.
Okay. So working together has its advantages and disadvantages. We're two different personalities. So it's taken a while to reach this stage. We've been working for 12 years now. Work-life balance, I would put it as there's never a balance, right? But I would put it as work-life harmony, right? So the thing is, when you're working together and you have your own business, it gives you flexibility in a way that is, and it's a value that's priceless to us. So, for example, both of our parents are back home now. If he needs to go because his mom is not well or he needs to take care of her, I don't need to leave at the same time because it's work related, right? But he has the confidence that the work is happening here. The same thing with my mother. If she needs me, I can go alone, and I know my business is taken care of because he's here in the business. Um, we decide today we want to watch a movie. I can go during work hours but work on a Friday. But
Mhm.
the thing is, it allows you that flexibility. Yes, there are pros and there are cons. You get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and 7 a.m. in the morning and talk about work. That's a possibility. What we've done is one thing for sure. Fridays, we switch off completely. That's come over a period of time. We don't talk work, we don't do work. Fridays is, it's family time, it's watching movies, going out, whatever. Fridays, one day we don't work because we are on our own business owners. Saturday depends on how things
Flexible
happen
that
in the
is.
week. Yeah. So, so yeah, that's it.
Understood. So you set a time on Fridays where you don't work,
Yeah.
and understood. It's like a Sabbath day for you guys.
Yes.
Understood. And is there like a routine as well, like in the evening, let's say after 7, we don't talk about work? Because I mean, this happens nowadays, especially like for small business owners, solopreneurs, husband and wife. Like when now at the moment they're eating, talking about family, and then at one point, it shifted towards the business, and then the cash, and then everything.
Yeah.
That's
So we have our hobbies which are common. So we both love movies. So when you're watching a movie, you're definitely not talking work. So we incorporate that in our daily life. We both love food. Sometimes we cook together, and so those times work will never come in. So I believe that incorporating things that you love in your life on a daily basis is important. And
mm-hmm.
work for us is passion. So we don't think of it as work as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, it does step into our personal time at times, but then when you're doing things you enjoy and you're involved in it, it may not come in.
Mm-hmm. Understood, understood.
So
And
you built it into your life.
you basically integrate like a work like harmony as well,
Yeah.
integrate what you
Yeah.
like and what you don't like, and I believe
Yeah.
it. One thing that really succeed in this type of setup is about your communication with your partner, business, or life
Yes.
partner. Yes.
Yes. Because we each need our space as well, right? Because we're always working together, staying at home together. So, giving each other that space that you need is also important. You can't be in each other's space all the time. So yeah, so understanding that, respecting that has been a journey. But
Yeah.
it's good. So also because we are working together, and we are small business owners, you can't take long holidays. We can't just, like when I was in the bank, take 1 month holiday and go away and do a 3 week
Yeah.
US trip, etc. So what we do is we've incorporated staycations in our life. We both love the
Mm,
beaches. So every 3 months we would go for 2 nights. So you're not waiting. So you incorporate that. And because you're own business owners, you don't have to do a Friday, Saturday. You can do a Thursday, Friday. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So all that adds up and allows you that flexibility. You can take advantages of good rates on staycations, on small holidays, do a 4 day Seychelles or
Yes.
things like that, which are smaller trips but more frequent trips in the year. Smaller breaks because that's what you need to even sustain your energy to come back. So that's something that's worked fabulously for us.
Understood. Thank you so much for sharing that. Also, one thing, you have a build to sell on your background. That is one of
Yes.
the books that I read twice that I really love. Tell us a little bit more about that, and I believe you also certified on that practice or methodology.
Yes.
Yeah. So just tell us a little bit for people who doesn't know about build to
Yeah.
sell.
So build to sell is again another methodology. So I'm certified on both build to sell and profit first. That came into my life just by accident, but it's been a big part, and I'm a strong believer in it.
Mm-hmm.
Build to sell is a methodology whereby your business is your biggest asset. When we start our own businesses, we put everything into our business: the money, the time, the energy, the focus. Everything goes back into your business, and eventually, it's your biggest asset, and it's a tool to give you the lifestyle you want to live. So what happened was, it was my husband's 50th birthday, and we went to Seychelles. And as you have a landmark birthday, you start questioning life. You start questioning what now? What do we want to do? We love the beaches of the world. So we was like,
Yes.
what if we would have a lifestyle like this? And I was like, okay. So what do we do? Because we started our business by accident. We grew our business by accident. We went with the flow. We were never too ambitious to grow it to a certain extent and make it an empire or whatever. As long as we were leading, it was giving us a good lifestyle. We were happy with what we were doing. We wanted to keep it a family. So it was a choice. I was like, if we sell our business today, will it give us the lifestyle that we want? And we kind of realized that we may be able to sell our business, but not at the price that we would want to sell it at. So that's how from Seychelles, I wrote to them, to the Build to Sell people. I'd read the book and asked about what are the steps and how do we build our business to sell. When I went to the methodology for our own business, I realized that this is something everybody would need. So what it does is it helps you design your business to become more valuable. Whether you want to sell it or not is secondary. Some people, each person will have a different philosophy. Some people want to build it and pass it as a legacy to their children. Some people would just want to be a chairman to the business, want to work on their business, but not in their business. They don't want to get into the in nitty gritties of handling things on
Yes.
your own. So it's a process, and it's based on a lot of scientific reasons. There are 8 business drivers that help you set up your business so that you can exit your business by design. So by exit, I
Mm.
don't mean actually sell. If you want to sell it, it will increase this sellable value. They've created an algorithm based on speaking to mergers and acquisition companies, based on big major sales, and they fine tune this as we go along. And they've realized that anybody who gets a score of about 80 on their algorithm would tend to get 6.7 times more value for the business, who's in the same area as you, who is facing the same economic challenges as you, but it's building your business, building the things which will help you
Yeah.
not work on your business, work on your business, not in your business. So that's the philosophy and methodology behind Build to Sell.
Mhm. Understood. And you mentioned about there are 8 key drivers
That's
for
right.
build to sell. I think one of those is like creating a system that you can
Yes,
pass
yes,
on.
yes,
If you
yes.
can name at least like 2 or 3, if there's time, just share us a little bit.
No, no, absolutely. So what I will choose the ones that are more valid for right now. So
Yes.
one of it is what you just said. It's called hub and spoke, which is actually building your business with systems, because people fail, systems don't. Systems work. Okay, so it's not dependent on you. People will change, your employees will change, but your systems should remain the same as to anybody can come and work that system. So it's all about building a standard operating procedures. So anybody who picks up the phone, as small as that, should be able to answer it in the same way, to finding out checklists on what needs to be done. So each business, the systems would be different. So the
Mhm.
word hub and spoke comes from a space where it's like an airline hub. If
Mhm.
everything is that hub and something happens at that hub, everybody gets stuck. So which you as a business owner, if you are the bottleneck, if the customers only want to speak to you, if your employees don't take a decision without asking you, so you become the bottleneck and you can't grow your business.
Yeah.
And it can happen overnight. So there are steps in which you do little by little. You
Mhm.
set a certain system, take a holiday for 3 days, see what's not worked, come and plug it off, then take a holiday for 1 week, then
Mhm.
come and plug it in, and then so that you can step away from your business,
Mhm.
and it should run uh, better without you actually.
Understood.
So
And that's
yeah.
number one. So creating system, creating SOP so that,
Yes.
in case,
Checklist.
yeah, I think it's also building up you for success. So in case
Yes.
there's something happen with the business owner or the CEO, then the company is still running smoothly and,
Yes, it
everything
is.
good. And what's the number 2? Just one more.
Yeah. So the second one I would suggest is recurring revenue. Okay. So what happens is in today's world, there's no predictable income. One of the biggest things, and the reason I'm saying is a lot of businesses offline right now, want to move online. So if you're planning that for your business, understand that there could be different streams of revenue for you. So you should have predictable income. And understand how your business can generate recurring revenue, and it's brainstorming that idea where you can have multiple streams of revenue from the same business. Uh, so I'll give you a classic example of a florist, and this is a certain example.
Yeah.
So normally florists make money only twice, big money twice in a year: Mother's Day and Valentine's Day, right? That's
Yeah.
when they are like flooded with inquiries. The other days, they're set up in most expensive real estate areas where husbands would forget their anniversary, wife's birthday, and they're picking up flowers. Now, flowers are also um, uh, perishable items. So
Yeah.
they have about 50% that goes waste. So the expensive real estate, perishable item, no predictability in their income. Another company called Bloom started their business, but what they did is they had tie up with contracts with hospitals, hotels, spas. found out how much exactly do they need, have recurring contracts for the whole year, what kind of flowers do they want, what frequency do they want to change their flowers, and they their outlet was in a warehouse, okay,
Mm.
not in prime real estate. They exactly knew which flowers were wanted, how much was wanted. Their rate of flowers getting wasted was less than 2%. So building a business model that gives you predictable income, because it only increases.
Yep.
Okay, so some of the methods of that is subscription model. Your Netflix, nobody will think twice before putting a $10 in your Netflix, and it continues. All it does, it adds to your revenue.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Nespresso machine, so the machine is not expensive, but the fact is you're still going to buy Nespresso capsules to conduct it. So what can you do to that model
Mm-hmm.
for your business? And it's possible by brainstorming. Take other business ideas and see what can we do to make our business have recurring revenue models. Having long-term contracts is one of the options. That is the highest option. And so when John Varilo wrote the book Built to Sell, he kind of realized that this was the turning point in that sellability value, because somebody was buying your business. Okay, let's put ourselves in the place of the buyer, right? So if somebody was buying your business, you have hub and spoke where you have systems. Even if you go away, he knows he or she can increase the value of your business, right? It's not dependent on you. So they're more willing to give you a higher price. They know that you have income which is predictable over the years. They give you a higher value for it. So from a buyer's perspective, it also it's your business is more attractive to them because of predictability in your revenues. A
Mm.
classic example of recurring revenue will also be a Harley Davidson. A lot of guys like Harley Davidson bikes. How many have you seen that on the road, right?
What was the name called?
Harley
Holiday.
Davidson bikes. Yeah. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So what happens is the bikes are most expensive, but people who own Harley Davidson have a Harley Davidson club, right?
Mm.
They have Harley Davidson club. The subscription is $45 a year. Okay. $45 a year is peanuts for people to want to be in the Harley Davidson club. They also have collaterals,
Yeah.
jackets, stuff like that. Okay. So imagine more than millions of people, $45 a month, a year, that's coming to Harley Davidson without selling a single bike,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a no-brainer. Nobody will go and cancel that subscription because it gives you prestige, right? And they make more money on their collateral stuff, that
Than the
that
normal
that takes care
bikes.
of their bread and butter expenses. So what can we think? Those are the two big ones at this point of time that I would recommend. I will also mention one more thing
Sure.
that I feel is very important because people are redefining their businesses. It's called the Switzerland structure, which is nothing but the fact that we don't have to be over dependent on a single customer. So the formula for that is not more than 15% of your revenue should come from a single customer. Imagine in a situation like this if you lose your topmost customer.
Yes.
So spreading that across and not being dependent on a single customer. So the formula there's about 15%. The same thing applies for your vendor. So what if your business is dependent on one single vendor and his business gets affected, you'll get affected. So not relying on a single vendor, not relying on a single employee. So three things: remain neutral. So that,
Mm-hmm.
again, by building systems, this will help that you're not dependent on an employee. But if that, so like if it's a spa and sorry, if it's a salon and it's a hairdresser, people
Mm-hmm.
only come to you for that hairdresser, and that hairdresser goes and starts her own business.
Yes.
You will
Yes.
lose all your clients. So being aware of where you stand in your current business and how you model it to
Mm-hmm.
start slowly by slowly making yourself independent of these resources is what would help you sustain, continue, grow, and become scalable.
Understood. Thank you so much. I mean, I was just about to ask you a follow up about the recurring revenue program. Is that because, let's say, you have a big chunk of that customer paying you monthly or even yearly? What if that customer suddenly went bust? Then you're
Yeah,
now left. And then you
yeah,
answered with the number three, which is you
yeah.
only need to have 50% of each customer, vendor, and
15, yeah,
employee.
yeah.
Understood. And what's the term called? Is it diver? What's the name?
It's called the Switzerland structure. It's named on the cities on the country Switzerland because Switzerland has always remained neutral,
Ah,
whether it was
okay.
Brexit, whether it was
Yeah.
World War or whatever. It's remained independent. So to
Uh-huh.
define it as an independent place, your business needs to be independent of employees, of vendors, of
Uh,
you know a single
yes,
customer.
Understood. Thank you so much. We're only 35 minutes, but the value of this episode, I really,
Thank
even
you.
me myself, I keep learning as well. Speaking of learning, you mentioned, I think you also a firm believer of continuous learning, attending events, conferences, seminars.
Yes.
Um, who are your favorite speakers, and someone that made an impact with what you're doing right now?
Actually, a whole lot of them. But I follow a lot of people for different things because in life you need different things. One of the key persons that has influenced me a lot, I'm a big fan, is Robin Sharma.
Mm,
I'm
5 a.m.
a big
club.
fan of Robin Sharma, and I like the simplicity with which he writes his books. I follow his 5 a.m. principle because setting yourself correctly in the morning is important. I am an early morning girl anyway, so a little bit of reading, a little bit of uh, you know um, clearing your thoughts. So I'm an advocate of Robin Sharma's principles. Yeah, so he's one of the authors that I follow. I I love the two people that I follow, even the other books. So, like I said, when in the recurring revenue, when there's build to sell, John Varelo has written another book called The Automatic Customer,
Mm,
which only talks about recurring revenue, as the whole book is on recurring revenue, called The Automatic Customer. So another person that influenced uh, us and our business, especially right in the beginning, before I saw Build to Sell and Profit First, is somebody called Michael Gerber, who's written a book called E-Myth. Okay, so the
mm,
book E-Myth talks about working on your business and not in your business, and creating your business as a turnkey franchise.
mhm.
The hub and spoke model speaks to the E-Myth stuff, and the way we've designed our business over the years has been because of E-Myth. We've had our challenges in the 16 years that we've had, and we are now built on systems, and which is why I love the hub and spoke model. But it was based on E-Myth.
Understood. And I'm really curious because obviously you've been running. I mean, when did you join Excel?
12 years ago. 12 years
12
ago.
years. Understood.
Yeah.
So it was 12 years ago, and then the business has been 16 years. I'm just really curious. I mean, do you have any other businesses running, or if because obviously I think there's one article where you mentioned that you suddenly joined your husband running the business. Um, running the business, and then you were a banker back then. But if I will ask you, or some people will ask you, if you could start another business or you could start all over again, what is the industry that you will be in?
So it would be so what I'm doing currently. It's not another business, but it is an additional stream of revenue that I'm adding to Excel accounting. Is
Mhm.
based on these two philosophies. So we're doing
Mhm.
coaching. I'm going to
Mhm.
launch something called Build for Profit, which is principle of both of these. So coaching on it, consulting our clients on it. So it would be somebody who would just need the coaching, but somebody would need us to implement. It is collaborative with what we're doing at Excel Accounting.
Mhm.
So adding more value to our customers
Yeah.
by preparing and gearing them with the numbers that we are aware of, by helping them with these philosophies to
Mhm.
move ahead and build themselves to sell or start making them profitable with that philosophy. So some people would be our clients where we are actually implementing it for them. Some people would be outsiders, having their own accountants, having
Mm.
their own outsourced accountants as well,
Yes.
but would just want us to be coached on this methodology. So that's an
Mhm.
additional stream of revenue for us.
Mhm.
So that's in the process, again, using the build to sell philosophy of recurring revenue.
Understood.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
creating multiple products on that. So some would just be digital products to download depending on the budgets, and some would be actual coaching.
Coaching like a one-to-one or one-to
Yes.
group or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love about it because it was a good segue to what
Yes.
you're currently doing right now.
And
I'm
that's
just
my passion. So yeah.
and I'm really curious. Have you encountered what is the one failure that you can remember that probably have some impact in what you're doing right now?
Um,
Obviously, everybody's not perfect, and
Nothing is perfect. Okay, so I will take the Switzerland structure example and tell you. So what happened in our business, we faced a lot of challenges. We started only as a one-man band. where it's what just my partner starting outsource CFO services. He was giving his time and his consulting. We just had one person working with him, to do the data entry kind of stuff. Beginner's luck or whatever. And that time I didn't know these systems. I didn't know these philosophies on build to sell. But we kind of had 80% of our revenue coming from one single customer. Very, very, very good revenue. All right. But we kind of realized over a period of time that that's not a sustainable model. So we had people knocking on our door for accounting and bookkeeping. So we started hiring other people. So it was very profitable when we started. But as you hire more people, as you move to a bigger office, your expenses increase first before you start making money, and you're changing business models. So that was one of the things. It hit us where we were about to lose a client. But we didn't lose that client, so we could structure it this way. So that was one of the big challenges, and we kind of knew that if that happened, it was like starting from scratch, your business. So second thing, what happened is when we built our business and we started following the EMIT system, we learned about the EMIT system, but procrastination says, oh, we'll do it another day. This takes time. We're getting client work gets in your way. And then we had one of our staff who wanted to start on his own. So we gave him a no objection letter to start on his own. What we hadn't realized that he had this plan a year and a half from before, and some of the clients who didn't renew because they had then grown to a full time or whatever, he built his business by taking our clients away. Okay, so we were over reliant on one employee, and it actually took us 2 years back in our journey where we had to restart. And that's when we spent all the time to systemize our business and said, this has happened to teach us something. We will make sure it doesn't happen again. So everything is checklist driven in our business right now.
Wow.
Because it's the reason I believe in all of this, and I'm so passionate about this, is because these things have helped us overcome our challenges in the past.
Understood. But is there a way that, because most people who started a business not necessarily need to solve a problem. Probably they were already doing good at what they do in their previous job. And especially here, I think not just here in the UA, but all over the world, where you can see people that leaving a company and then starting their own, getting half of their clients from the company. Is there a way to have a protection for those companies who are planning to, I don't know, hold someone accountable, or even their top sales guy not getting their clients? Is there a way not to do that?
See, we had it in our contract. It's not like it wasn't on our contract, right? It depends on how you want to end it. So do you want to fight it? Do you want to take the person to court? Do you want to go legal? Or, so it's not that it's not in the contract. So one of the ways to safeguard yourself is to have contracts that are legally vetted. There is a way, but then when it actually comes down to taking that decision, it's a call you take. It's a call you take. So, me and my husband believe, and more my husband than me. I've started believing more right now. At that time, I was very angry, but he's a strong believer in gratitude. So he says, where our business has come in the 4 years this person was with us, and the way he's led our business to this level, he had a lot of gratitude for that. And he also believes in forgiveness. So, he kind of chose the possibility of letting it go. And say we learn from our mistakes. We take our responsibility on it. We learn from our mistakes and we correct it so that, this doesn't happen to us again.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a little bit tricky question in there.
It is. But vetting your contracts and, so even your clients want your stuff at times, correct? So these things you're faced with, but it's on your contract. It's written on your contract.
Mm-hmm.
And you can safeguard yourself with all the legal stuff. It's just at that point of time, is it worth the time, the energy, and to do that?
Understood. All right. So just a couple of questions. Where can people find you, and where can people find more about your work? I know you're pretty much, in LinkedIn. But what are your website, contact details, or
Yeah. So I can share those with you, but Xcel account, www.xcelaccounting.com is our website. Simran Samtani on LinkedIn, Rajiv Samtani on LinkedIn. That's my partner. Another thing that I'm doing right now, and which I feel that people will find a lot of value, is I have a Facebook group that I've
Mm.
just launched right now. It's called a 1 billion saving challenge. It's on
Wow.
cash flow. I'm sharing tips. It's only a place where I'm giving or whatever I can give. And what I want out of it is to be a movement where it's not just me sharing,
Mm-hmm.
where people are sharing their success stories, because right now I believe that a whole lot of cash flow problems everybody is facing. Nobody can say that they're not
Yes,
facing.
yes.
Nobody can say that they're not hit by this current situation. So, and a lot of people have emotions around money. There could be fear, there could be guilt, there could be sadness, there could be shame, and we're going through this roller coaster ride. So even small things, and what does not allow people to move forward is procrastination, not accepting it, not again the fear. So what I
Mm-hmm.
want people to do in this group is not just me sharing. Right now I'm sharing, but a lot of other people to engage and even share small things that have
Mm-hmm.
helped them move forward, success stories of others, because people are pivoting as well. People are
Yes.
making these shifts. So small savings by canceling your subscriptions, by certain attitudes by which you will start collecting money. So
Yeah.
small tips can help people. Sometimes a small tip can go a big way, and you don't know that could be a life changing one for someone.
Yes, yes. I
So
actually, yeah,
that's a
it's.
big.
I think this was the second group that you created. There's one. I think in the past I forgot the name. There's one that I was part in. I think you added me
That's
there.
on continuous learning and business development. It's called learning and business development, because I'm a big advocate of learning. I go and so I've incorporated a lot of things in my life. Like all my trainings and everything is based on mind mapping by Tony Buzan. So
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to his courses. I've done his courses.
Mm-hmm.
So people would say, "Oh, you're doing this. I'm interested." So what I did is that group I created a few years ago just for me and
Mm-hmm.
others to share the events that are happening, the courses that are happening, things that are happening around us, because
Yes.
you won't remember who told you they wanted to attend, right? So people can then share. I may not know all the events that are happening, I may miss a few. So that was created with the logic of
Mm-hmm.
sharing events that are happening around you, learning events that are happening around you.
Yes. Yeah, I really love about the 1 billion cash flow challenge. Is that the right name? Yeah, because
Yes, it is.
I remember there's one airline that I did. I mentioned this in my previous podcast that there's one airline they removed the lettuce. I think it's Delta or
The
something.
olive, the olive, the olive.
Yeah, olive.
American Airlines. Yeah,
Yeah, and then they save like 1 billion or something,
yeah,
accumulatively in a year.
yeah.
Interesting. And I believe you're also talking about topics about money mindset, cash flow, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who see money as when you pursue money, it feels like it's evil. So people are not, talking about money, but it's one basic thing. I always believe that, if you don't. It's either you're living in a cave and you don't want to talk about money, or
Yeah.
you're delusional, you don't want to face reality. So before my final question, I just wanted to acknowledge you, Simran, for sharing your journey,
Thank
your
you.
wisdom. I really enjoyed, really spontaneous. There are no questions prep, about this. So
Yeah.
really natural. So yes, thank you, Simran. My last and final question to you is, if everything is stripped away from you, like maybe a few years from now, 10 years from now, everything that you create suddenly, went back to zero and you need to start all over again, what would be your main drive to succeed?
Again, I think people can copy your business ideas, but nobody can take away your passion and your knowledge from you. So some everybody's facing a similar situation where they're reinventing their business, kind of not at a zero level.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, at that point of time, a is have gratitude for whatever you've got so far, the knowledge that you have that gives you the strength to move on.
Hmm.
It's time to then identify what you want really in life, because at different stages in your life you want different things, and you can always rebuild with your passion. Following
Hmm.
your passion, if you love what you do, anything can be rebuilt. I mean, we've heard stories where people have lost their house in a fire, people have lost things, but they have recreated all of it, because it's, first of all, you should know what you want,
Hmm.
and then your path will be created for you. People cannot take away your knowledge from you. People
Yeah.
cannot take away your learnings from you, and they
Experience
will
from
all come in
you.
handy at the right time for you to rebuild, and probably there are opportunities to rebuild what you want to build.
Yes, exactly. All right. I think that's it for today. Any last thoughts before we end the episode?
No, wishing everybody a lot of business growth, scale up, and prosperity and profits.
All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Simran,
Thank
and
you.
see you guys
It
in the
was
next
my pleasure
episode.
being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
By the way, if it's our first time tuning in today, please hit the subscribe button and smash the like button. This way, we can hack the YouTube algorithm and show this episode to more people too and have that collective impact so we can impact the next generation as well. By the way, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to share this with your friends and family. I would really appreciate you because without your support, this channel wouldn't grow as